Hi guys, and welcome back to Before He Spoke. Now today we're going to be talking about Swiss watches and in particular my Rolex. Now Swiss watches are coveted the world over by people, men, women, and we're just going to discuss why that is. Why do people like them so much? Why are they so expensive? And just delve into a little bit of how you can maybe purchase one if you aren't a trillionaire. Now, why are Swiss watches so expensive? There's really two parts to it, I think. The main reason is there's a great deal of design, great deal of engineering, and an extreme amount of skill goes into making these things. There is hundreds of years of knowledge and time and craftsmanship goes into every one, and the finished product is just something of the absolute highest quality. And the other side of it is supply and demand. Rolex in particular is one of the best known brands in the entire world, and therefore people want them. They are limited, and this, of course, as we all know, drives up the price. Now my Rolex in particular is this one here. It is a 1990 stainless steel Submariner date with the reference number 16610, I believe. That indicates the stainless steel material and the fact that it has a date complication. Now, watches have always fascinated me from an engineering point of view, and my grandfather was a horologist. In fact, that's one of his clocks right there. Well, he didn't make it, obviously, but he maintained it. There is something about them for me that just appeals to me. The craftsmanship, the heritage, that sort of thing. Now, this one in particular, I wear it every day, and it is my pride and joy. I take great care of it because it was extremely expensive, and you can wear them every day as long as you're careful. Now, the reason I'm doing this video is just to shed a bit of light on the expense of the watch, really. Now, it's a little vulgar, I know, but we're going to talk about money. The first thing, as it's been said before, the first thing people ask you when they see that, is that a real Rolex? To which you usually say yes, because you don't want people to think you're wearing a fake. And then the next question inevitably is, how much did it cost? Now, some people don't like talking about money, and most polite people don't, but people still ask. So I want to debunk the myth a little on the price and how, as a normal person, you can afford one. Now, as I say, bit vulgar, but we'll talk about money. This was £4,450 from what we would call an authorised Rolex dealer, an AD. Me and Rich, who is the other half of Before He Spoke, were on a lads weekend in Nottingham. We went for a bit of window shopping around the local jewellers and watchmakers, and the gent in the shop, who was very friendly, realised that we were actually interested in the brand and we weren't just window shopping. He produced this for us. He said he'd taken it on a part exchange on a brand new Rolex, and they were selling it second hand. Now, because it was coming from an authorised dealer, it had been back to Rolex for a service, and it had been completely polished. So it was like brand new. It's nearly 30 years old and it hasn't got a mark on it. So it almost feels like a brand new watch. So it wasn't my intention that day to purchase it, but it was a bargain. Now, you may scoff at £4,450 being a bargain, but for this watch, it is. Now, given a little history, I am a normal guy. I have bills, I have things to pay every month, I have student loans, I have a mortgage, I have all the normal things that a normal person have, and I have a very average wage. So people often look at me a bit funny when they've asked you, is your Rolex real and how much did it cost? They give you a bit of a disparaging look about how and why you own this thing. Now for me, it was never my intention to get one, but it kept clawing at me. It's a hobby that I love, and I eventually decided that I would have to buy one. However, as a sensible person, you always get this thing in your head that there's always something more important to pay for. So my heart was set on owning one of these watches. Now, I knew that with everything I have to pay for in my everyday life, and I don't earn a huge amount, then saving for one would not be an option, because there's always a fridge explodes, or the car breaks down, or the interest rates rise, or something to take your money away. So, not exclusively for buying a watch, but I wanted to get into money management a little better as well. So I started a few of my, should we say, more well-off friends, advice from books that I could read, self-help money management books. If you want to know particular titles, please drop us a comment below. And I started realising that I wasn't managing my money well. And if I wanted to save a decent amount and have something as nice as this that I covet and love wearing every day and get a great deal of enjoyment from, then I would have to be a bit smarter. So, long story short, I ended up getting into investing, and I put my savings into a tax-free ISA, but an investment ISA, a self-select investment ISA, so there's no broker involved. It's all done through myself. Now, I did a great deal of research on this before I went blundering in, and it took me a while, but over time I managed to get a nice little nest egg, if you like, together, which is still there. But as anybody who knows about money management and delayed gratification will tell you, at some point you have to allow yourself a treat and spend that money. So we were in Nottingham having this weekend away, and this absolute bargain jumped out at me, and I thought I would be foolish not to take it. Now, the thing about these, I'll take this off again. This is a Rolex Submariner. It is the most famous watch in the world, recognisable by many. And it's steel, it's not gold or two-tone. It will never decrease in value from its second-hand value. If you buy a brand new one of these, you will lose the VAT the second you walk out the shop. So they always say don't buy brand new. But as this was bought second-hand and it was an absolute bargain from an authorised dealer, then I couldn't say no, because £4,500, I could have walked out the shop and sold it that day for more than that. That's why I didn't feel bad. I'd saved up this money, I'd been wise, I had learned, and I didn't feel bad because it is an investment. I know if I ever fall on hard times or anything like that, I will be able to sell this watch. Barring a complete collapse of the economy and Rolex not existing anymore, something crazy like that, I know that this is worth what I paid for it at least. So there is that added bit of security. I haven't bought a Porsche or something that loses 40% of its value the second you drive it off the forecourt. Now, a few tips if you want to do something similar to this yourself, if you are a normal person with a normal wage and normal everyday bills, but you really, really want a Swiss watch. It doesn't have to be a Rolex, doesn't even have to be a watch really, if you really, really want something. Then you have to work hard to get it, but you have to work smart as well. Do your research. So taking this as an example, as it's what the video is about, as I said, I did my research onto how to afford it in the first place. Then I did research on the specifics of the brand and the model. I've always been interested in watches, so that was easy for me because it was quite pleasurable anyway. But there are certain things that you should think about. For instance, I got this from an authorised dealer. Rolex copies are prevalent. They are everywhere and they are very good. Unless you are an expert and you really know what you're doing, authorised dealers might be the way to go. Now, I would say with the Rolex especially, and any luxury Swiss watch, gold, if you're into that sort of thing, you may lose money on the gold. Gold prices fluctuate and that can cause fluctuations in the price, whereas the stainless steel sports watches, the GMT, the Submariner, to a sort of lesser extent the Yachtmaster, anything like that, any steel Swiss made boutique sort of watch is going to hold its value. So pick something that will hold its value. Go to an authorised dealer. I would say, because I got a good deal with this, buy second hand, because Rolexes especially lose that little money on resale. And there are that many people buy them, you can get one that is practically brand new. This was 30 years old and it looked brand new. Unfortunately, for wearing it, there's a little bit of clasp rash on it, buckle rash, whatever you want to call it. But apart from that, it's still in absolutely perfect condition. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds out there that are in near perfect and perfect condition, and you won't be paying the VAT on a pre-worn one. Just look online. There are thousands of people selling them, and there are ways to make sure you're getting a good deal. Make sure you know your prices. Make sure you're not overpaying. As I say, I paid £4,450 for this, and I am confident that I will always be able to get more for it. I don't want to ever have to sell it because I adore this watch. It's, as I say, my most prized and valuable possession, and I would like to give it to my kids one day. Now, another thing you've got to remember with the second-hand watches is always try and get them with a box. It's unclear why this is so important. It's like when you buy a car, everybody likes it if it's got 2 keys. It shows it's been looked after, it shows it's been cared for, it shows it's been protected. Now this box is 30 years old, it's a little bit battered, but it's the real wood and the leather, and it's just originality. I've even got the original links and the original Rolex tag. That helps it keep its resale value. And also, with it being a authorised dealer, I got all the original paperwork and everything that was required. And again, with it being an authorised dealer, I get 12 months warranty through the dealership because it's been back to Rolex, it's been serviced, and it's been polished. There's probably been about £300 of work in the service and the polish gone into that as a second-hand model to get it back up to scratch, not having any scratches. Okay, so specifics money-wise, I had the money to pay for it outright. However, the shop, with it being an authorised dealer, they were offering the infamous 0% interest. So that was only for 12 months. Now, usually I would advocate staying away from anything that is a payment plan, whether it's interest-free or not. But in this case, it made sense because I was paying over time for an item that wasn't going to lose value. And it was interest-free, so I wasn't paying a penny more than was necessary. Also, it was only offered, because it's a second-hand watch, they were only offering it for 12 months, which again isn't a great amount of time. So rather than splurge a great deal of cash, I believe I paid about 2/3 of it cash, and I took the option to take the 12 months interest-free on the balance. That was just a decision I made on the day because it was interest-free and it would just lighten the load on my pocket and my little nest egg. Some people might not have done that, but that was the decision I made. So, what do we know in conclusion? Basically, if you want something like this, there are ways to get it. Some of you might think I'm stupid, that as a self-professed normal person who has a normal amount of money and normal bills and things, you might think I am a ridiculous person for spending so much on a watch. And if that's the case, then fair enough. It's something that I love, I cherish, I get a great deal of enjoyment out of, and it's an investment. And it's insured. Remember that. If you're buying one of these, get it insured. Take that into account when you do your sums. I believe this cost me an extra £50 or £60 a year on my house insurance, but that covers me away from home as well. It is money well spent. If this gets stolen, or you get mugged, or it gets stolen out of the gym locker, or your house, God forbid, is broken into, it's a lot of money to lose. So bear that in mind. But as I say, it comes down to, again, if you want something badly enough and you are willing to do the work, there are ways of doing it. I love luxury watches. I've always wanted a Rolex, so I decided now's the time to try and get one, and I've succeeded, and I couldn't be happier about it. Hope you liked the video, guys. As always, please give it a like, thumbs up and a share. And if you'd like to follow us on Instagram and Twitter, then pop over there now. Thanks very much. Bye.